Hey everybody, it's Ron at Becoming Light Together. So I'm going to go ahead and do our weekly read. I know it's Wednesday, but as I've stated several times over the last couple of months in reads that um, I have a lot of things going on in my life. So trying to do things on a consistent and daily basis has been an impossibility for me. So I'm trying to make up for it whenever I can. And this is why I'm here, and I'll probably post 3, possibly even 4 readings. I just posted a little food for thought concerning, sharing one's wisdom, experience, and knowledge, the things that you have in your own life and experience, and tremendous amount of research have discovered to be true for yourself, in the hopes that it would also edify another human being. And you might, just look at that and, you don't have to agree with it, and that's fine. That's just my thoughts, and I'm just doing some in my own, self-healing. I do that in a way where if it could be positive, it could be helpful to another. Again, this is the whole reason why I started this channel in the first place. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and get into this weekly reading. Now what we're seeing here is basically we're getting a deep insight into people close to our lives. Karmics, people that are and have been, in some of our cases, doing things aren't the entirety of our lives. In other cases, there are relationships that have been relatively recent. Doesn't seem like these things are dealing with things that I'm talking about, like, you've only known them for a few months or something. They obviously have knowledge of you to a deeper degree. So this could be somebody you work with, a friend perhaps, somebody within a friend group even, that you're aware of, or there is at least aware of you. But it could be very possibly be, domestic in nature. In fact, we see that definitely described throughout this weekly reading that I've been doing. So, definitely somebody close to you on an emotional or relationship level. And we're just trying to get an insight so that you can prepare yourself and be warned in advance, the things that have been going on behind the scenes, and so on and so forth. So to start things off, what we got for the overall encompassing energy was that of ingwas. Now, ingwas is shown many different ways. It looks something like an hourglass in many cases, or the diamond that it forms in between. But it represents not only the god Ing, which is another name for the god Freyr, twin brother of the goddess Freya, some of the most highly, I guess you could say, esteemed gods and goddesses within their pantheon. But what it means in reality is basically, because it's reversed. So I want to clarify that. I didn't say it yet. This energy is reversed on top of everything else. So what it really shows you is an explosive power that is being released. In other words, somebody just letting it all out. They're so angry, they're not checking themselves. So a revealing of sorts is being manifested. So everything is now visible, no longer hidden. That's one of the strongest, I guess you could say, explanations for that energy in the reverse. It also speaks about things such as impotence, and that's not just in a sexual nature. It could also be impotence in terms of the things they're trying to produce. Okay, this is somebody who's very self-absorbed. This is somebody who moves without purpose. Somebody who has a strong disassociation with their environment. Basically, it is a seductive force as well. Somebody who uses the art of seduction to move forward or to get things that they want. And it doesn't have to be, any particular sex. It can be man or woman, depending in your particular situation. It doesn't clarify that. Although the god Freyr does usually get associated with masculinity and so on and so forth. So somebody's specifically within their masculine energy. And again, a woman can be very much in their masculine energy too. So This is why it's a little bit hard to describe some of these types of things when we're talking about gender and everything else, okay? All right, so also it talks about someone who is trying to get others to think that they have completed something, some type of task or stated goal, mission statement, whatever the case may be, but in reality, all they've done is start this particular endeavor. They want everybody to believe they've done all the hard work, this, that, and the other thing, and the reality of the situation is contrary. Okay. It also talks about, a meaningless motion. So somebody who moves, I mean, on the outside it looks like they're moving, they're doing things, but in reality, that's meaningless motion. As I stated earlier, it just doesn't amount to anything. Okay. So that's the overall encompassing energy, along with each particular day's energy, which I'm going to look at now. So Monday's energy, now I know it's Wednesday that I'm recording this, I understand. But again, these readings are, you could say, timeless. They're for whenever they're being viewed, for the reader, for the listener, I should say. So Degas is Monday's energy. Degas 2 is in the reverse. And now what Degas typically talks about is nighttime obscurity versus daylight clarity, so to speak. So something dark, something chaotic, something hidden is what's going on. Confusion, unresolved problems and issues. Talks about a person who just refuses to transform. Somebody who is unawakened, certainly unbalanced, and that could be in their masculinity versus femininity. They don't have both sides of that, persona balanced. They're very much on either one or the other, and that's not healthy. Okay, it's no different for your spiritual versus your material. If you're not balancing those two things out, it also is very it's not high vibration. I'll just leave it at that. Okay. So it talks about somebody who has an attitude, somebody who is going to be or is in a midst of radical changes, not wanted, unwanted changes. So endings, limits, somebody who's come full circle in a situation or cycle, somebody who's blind and hopeless. So that is the energy for the karmics in general that we're talking about in our lives for Monday. Now, Tuesday's overall energy is that of the god Tyre's rune. Okay, and this one is in the upright. So, and that's good because he's a god of judgment, justice, discipline, honor, duty, anything that is described as being a leadership trait, characteristic, or attribute, he embodies, he lives it. He doesn't fight his battles with magic or anything of that nature. Not to say that that makes him greater or less or anything like that, but he has chosen to use his tenacity, his beliefs, his standing upon principle as his driving force. Okay, so what Tiwaz means in the upright is basically doing what's right even when it costs you something. Okay, it's moral courage. It's the hard choices that we all have to make from time to time. It's literally discipline. It's law and order. It's leadership, as I've stated. It's victory earned, not taken. It's honor and choosing the right path. It's nobility, heroism, sacrifice. It's victory in any competition. When you stand your ground and you're standing it on principle and on right and you're truly being who you are, authentic, you will always overcome the greatest of obstacles, no matter how overwhelming it seems the situation in front of you may actually be. It may not appear as a victory at first glance, but it always overcomes the darker side of things. Always. Remember, light overcomes darkness, and it exposes what's been hidden in that darkness. That is Tyre. Okay? arrived. And that was yesterday's energy. Today's energy, which is Wednesday, and that's when I'm filming this, is that of Malthus. And Malthus, too, is in the upright. Now, this is generally considered the needs room. Okay. Malthus in the upright teaches us that struggle sharpens what comfort often dulls. And I guess you can say that the Vikings definitely proved that to be a reality, as they lived very harsh, very difficult lives, and yet they have spread their influence over all of Western world in general, from including Russia all the way west of Russia, and all the way down to the tip of Italy and Greece and all the eastern Mediterranean countries and so on. So they, as a race, were very prolific in their impact on Western society as a whole. So I give them credit, and I'm excited and so thankful that I have so much of that blood in my veins. It makes me proud. It makes me want to learn more and more about it. Not just that, I've learned more about my Celtic roots, my Greek roots, my Spanish roots. All of these things I didn't even know about. And thank God for DNA in that regard, because it's given me the ability to really uncrack things that nobody in my family has really allowed me to see. So it's been a blessing. Now this teaches us also that you get what you don't get what you want. I'm sorry, but you get what you need. Okay, and to continue, it's the grind that forges strength. Okay, whether you like it or not, we all have obstacles and challenges and hurdles that we can either choose to get over, or we can just sit down in utter defeat, which, especially today's world, we see a lot of. And this is why we all, whether we know it or not, enjoy movies like Rocky or Braveheart or 300 or whatever, even though they take a lot of artistic liberties with truth or with history. Those things, we can all rally around the underdog, who just refuses to stay down and keep getting up. And that inspires me to do the same. And believe me, I've been down many times, and I'm sure many of my listeners have as well. And I say, God bless you all, because the universe favors the bold. Okay? And you will see that very, very soon at the end of this cycle. Alright. So it embodies the concept of survival and determination to overcome all difficulties. That, in a nutshell, is what now this means. So that's a very powerful energy to bring forward to you today. And maybe it's the energy that helped me to, or inspired me to, have a little bit of a quick video conference with anybody who was willing to open it up about casting your, blessings, your wisdom before those who are simply not at a vibration high enough to accept it, especially graciously. Okay. Now, Thursday's energy, unfortunately, takes another turn south. It's that of Berkana in the reverse. Yeah, that's the way it looks now. Okay, it's hard when you're looking at it in the computer screen because it looks backwards from what it really is. So, Berkana in the reverse is also associated with the goddess Birchta, which is just one of several names she's been given, depending on which culture, whether it's Germanic or Celtic in a sense, or even Nordic beliefs. And it embodies the same type of description of many other goddesses, from Greece, from Rome, and others, Hecate and others that are also looked at with these types of, I guess you could say, characteristics and traits. She's a goddess that basically looks over the animals, the flora, the fauna, the young, women, and those who are being guided in the afterlife, so to speak. She's not really Mother Gaia per se. She's not encompassing the entire world and, the embodiment, if you will, of that type of energy. But it's very close and very similar in that regard. But in the reverse, what it talks about is somebody is experiencing a great deal of turmoil in regards to their domestic issues, family issues. Um, they're experiencing disloyalty. They're experiencing worry and anxiety. Um, Again, that the sterility that went along with the other things that we talked about at the very beginning of this, the impotence. And again, it doesn't necessarily mean in regards to one's sexuality. It could also be talking about their ability to create or what it is that they're working on and so on. It talks about somebody's experiencing a blurring of consciousness in general. So somebody's just not seeing things for what they are. They've got their own self-delusions about what is and is not true. Deception, of course. And self-deception is the worst type of deception there is. Okay? Because you're not even being deceived by another person or what have you. You are deceiving yourself. And I mean, it just doesn't get any lower in regards to that particular subject than that. So stagnation is also a part of this energy for tomorrow. So be aware of that. And again, this is more along the lines of those who are in our energetic sphere of influence, who are, for lack of a better term, trying to encompass or have an umbrella term that everybody understands when I'm talking about somebody who's just not done the work yet or refuses to do the work, lower vibrational or karmic. And or at least believe some people in your life who fall into that category. There may be almost everybody I understand. Now Friday's energy is that of Aglas. Now Aglas also is in the reverse. Now, Haglas in the reverse talks about disruptions and disruptive forces, and that can be a multitude of different things. Natural disasters among those kinds of things, catastrophes, so to speak. And again, stagnation. So we're seeing a lot of stagnation energy in this week. Somebody who's lost or is losing their power. Somebody who's experiencing both pain and loss. Somebody who is either mentally or physically suffering. Somebody's going through a lot of crises and hardships, possibly even illness of some type. Okay, so that's Friday's energy. Now Saturday's energy, thank goodness, takes a turn again for the better, positive and upright. That of Canis. It's one of the ones I have tattooed on my body because of the things that I partake in: reading, writing, performing music, and all those types of things, and what I'm doing here for that matter. Canis brings illumination, which also exposes. So there we see it again. Again, the inspiration that I had to do that recorded message about casting your pearls before swine and everything else. It talks about what's revealed cannot be unseen. Okay, what's seen is out in the open now, and you cannot change it. Okay, and this includes a person's flaws, truths that they wanted hidden, and uncomfortable things, uncomfortable knowledge, things about themselves. Again, that they worked very diligently for probably the whole of their lives to keep hidden. I hate to say, but those things are going to inevitably be revealed at some point. It looks like it's going to happen for some people this week. It's also when the darkness is revealed in the light. And again, there it is. It's wisdom and learning. It's understanding. It's clarity. And again, we started off with the energy of obscurity. Well, we're seeing clarity at the end of the week. Okay? It also reflects the value of wisdom and learning. Odin was well renowned, the Allfather, the highest, you should say, god of the pantheon in the Nordic belief system, the Allfather. He is well known for searching the 9 worlds for all wisdom that he could. He sacrificed greatly for the knowledge and the wisdom of the runes. For 9 days and nights he hung upon the world tree over the well, to petition the Norns for the understanding, the knowledge of the runes. And then he shared that with, us, humans, and so on. So it's with that we perform a little ritual each and every time before we give, the knowledge and provide the wisdom of the runes, each reading and so on. At least I do. I know I do. I don't know. I can't speak for everybody, obviously, but I know I do that for that reason. Okay. And that's your overall energy for the week. So yet another week to end another month where we're really getting down deep into, karmic energies and what's going on, in particular behind the scenes, and what some of you may already be experiencing, as far as these things manifesting outwardly in our lives by these very, very people, which could be the very closest ones to you. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close this out and do the other readings. And that'll be basically what would normally be considered Monday through Wednesday, but it's not. It's whenever you're meant to see them. So go ahead and take a look at them, and I appreciate your presence. And again, I open my doors for anybody that basically needs somebody to listen to them if they have nobody else in their life in particular. That can be very, very difficult, to continue the raising your vibration when you're feeling utterly alone and everything else. But remember, we're never alone. You have your ancestors that are right there, your angels, whatever it is you believe in. So they're watching over you, and they can become, that bridge, that armor, the gap that you need between you and this oftentimes very cold and difficult, and yes, in many ways, sometimes evil world. Okay? Remain strong. You are the light. You are, far greater than any darkness that comes your way. Even though it may have effects upon you at times, you can overcome that darkness. Whereas the darkness is subjected to itself, and it's hopeless. It's a hopeless state to be in, yet most people tend to want to stay in that mire in the mud kind of a thing. And there's nothing we can do about it except try to be the change that we ourselves want to be. And as hard as it is, I applaud you. And I know Spirit, the universe, God, they applaud you. Your ancestors applaud you. So don't give up. Okay? All right, take care. God bless. See you in the next one.